Welcome to a new episode of Sweetkittycrafts. My name is Jolanda and thank you so very much for being here with me today. Today is Friday, it's the end of September and we're at episode 22. So thanks everybody who is coming back, and also thank you if you're a new viewer and you subscribed. It means a lot to me to see new subscribers coming, and thank you so very much. I hope you like it here. Also a big thank you for all my regular viewers and all the lovely comments you left behind the last episode about me and my awful neck. So the x-ray confirmed what I already knew, and that was that there is arthrosis in 6 of the 8 vertebrae in my neck. So that's pretty a big bummer. But well, people adapt. I will adapt. I had a rough few days after that. I felt it. I knew it. But when somebody really says it, it's just like, oh, good. Another thing added to the list. Well, the body will adapt. There's a lot of things that is worn in my body. A lot of my it's just the arthritis, and I've got 2 replacement knees, and they're in there for 16 years, so I've had my share of things. But we'll keep going, and it's gonna be alright. So thank you very much. Let's not talk too much about all the bad things. I've got a lot to show you. I've got another hospital appointment this afternoon, the second of the treatments. So after this, I've got some recovery to do. But I just wanted to talk to you before, things got out of hand and the pile would be too big. I'm trying to podcast in a few sections so I can move around a little bit between things, and hopefully you won't notice too much about it. If this doesn't work as nicely as I hope it will, then I apologize already, and next time it will be better. So I did some crocheting. I got a crochet bug. I was watching the Crafternoon Treats, which is such a lovely podcast, and I watch all the old episodes, so I'm halfway through, I think, and she makes such lovely things. So I wanted some additional washcloth, and I knitted some, but that takes some time. Well, not too long, but crochet is so much faster. And I found some lovely free patterns. One is the diagonal disc cloth, and that is this pattern. And I hope this is not going to be backwards, and it probably is, and I'm going to change that in a little bit. It's the diagonal disc cloth by Ananda Judkins, but they are all on my Ravelry page. If you go on Ravelry and you look for Jolanda Loves Yarn, there you can see my projects, and they're all there, and you can click on the pattern and it just pops up. So I made 2 of those, and these are the lovely washcloth. So you start at one side and do increases until you're halfway, and then you do the decreases. So this is on the diagonal, so it's always a bit pulling, but it looks nice, and I can use those. Everybody in the family uses these. And then there is another free pattern. It's the Just Right and Big Time disc cloth, and that is this one. And I did make 2 of those. And I'm using the Drops Cotton Light, which is 50% acrylic and 50% cotton. And this is the other one. And this is very easy. It looks very pretty, I think. It's just a single crochet followed by a half double crochet, and that's just row for row. So that is pretty nice, and I'm really happy with those. These are working up so very fast. I can't remember the crochet hook I used, but I think it's the one that was stated in the pattern. No, it's not. They use worsted weight cotton, and I didn't have worsted weight. I think it was a 3.5mm crochet hook, but who cares? Just make sure you use the hook that is appropriate for the yarn. That's more important. You can always adjust the sizing by chaining a few more stitches. So that was the first thing. Actually, it wasn't the first thing, but I'll just keep on. I finished some socks, and they were already very long on my needles for a long time. It's just cuff down, a slip stitch heel, a gusset, heel flap, and I ended with a rounded toe, which decreases on 4 points instead of 2, just on the sides, and that gives it a very nice round effect. So these are going to be for me. I finished the Hohi Locatelli shawl. I didn't block it yet. It was on my blocking by my ironing board, ready to be blocked, but I didn't have the energy to do it. So it's going to be something for next time. Hi Molly. She's going to have a look. Hi girl. So this is the camel with silk, which is very soft. This is merino with nylon Mahine dart yarn, and this is a wool and acrylic blend from Ice Yarns. So everything is on my project page, just not the finished picture yet, because I've got to make some pretty pictures of this. So it's quite big, as you could see. It's bigger than my wingspan, and I'm quite tall. So this is a nice shawl. It's the Hohi Locatelli shawl. I think it was this Yuzu. I talked about it last time, so go have a look if you like. And it's also on my project page. Another finished object, which I almost forgot, is this one, and it is a vest I made quite a long time ago. And the only thing I had to do was put on the button band. And why it took so long, I have no clue, because it was done in a jiffy. I put on some buttons I already had, so they are not really the same, but they're quite matching. It's a vest I made up by using the pattern from Anne Bad's Top Down Sweaters book, which gives you stitch counts for every gauge you knit up yourself. I did some increases for the raglan, which are yarn over, so they give little holes, which I think is a nice detail. I did a faux seam, which is just I think it's a purl stitch, but I can't even remember because it was a long time ago. You can see it here. Well, what else? Top down. I could have made the armholes a less deep, because I think it's quite baggy here. But you learn things. This was all my hand spun. This is a South German merino, and this is a Falkland, which was a bit thinner, so I held that double. And yeah, this is how it turns out. It is nice. It's not slimming because, yeah, you know, striping, but it's nice, warm, and, well, you gotta do with what you got, right? So that was another finished object, and I have done a lot of knitting. Totally crazy. Crochet too. And the next section will be about my works in progress, and get yourself ready, because that is a lot. Okay, let's hope you're ready for this. There's a pile of works in progress here in front of me. I did remove my vest because it was so warm. So the first thing I want to show you is a granny square I started a long time ago, just leftover acrylic yarns, and I put it in a bag to give it away because I thought, well, I'm never gonna work on it again. And then I got the crochet book and I digged stuff out, and well, I'm just gonna use up lots of my acrylic yarn. I just stashed it away. I thought I just give it away. I don't like acrylic. Well, that's just nonsense. For blankets it's amazing, and it's easy washable. So the part I did have was until this purple row here, and I added a few borders, round things. Look at it. And they're not all the same yarns, but I don't care. I like it the way it is now. What I'm going to do now, because this is quite getting boring, also for the eye, I think. I'm going to do a few extra rows of the purple now, and just switch it with, I think maybe 1 row or 2 rows of the other 2 colors. I don't have that much left, so I'm just going for using up what I've got. And then I want to add, because I've got a lot of this, I'm going to add a very nice lacy border as the last round with the lilac-y purple, this one. So this is just a basic granny square. It's 3 double crochet, chain 1, 3 double crochet, and the next round in the chain 1 you do the 3 double crochet. So that is very easy, very kind of it is mindless, but I do have to watch while I'm crocheting. I can knit with my eyes closed, which they were very curious to see when I was in the hospital. Because of the medication you get very sleepy, but your brain is right awake, but your eyes just won't stay open. So I was knitting on my driftwood cardigan, and it's just round and round and round and round until you run out of yarn. So I can knit while it looks like I'm sleeping, but I wasn't sleeping, of course. So I heard some noises around me and people talking like, look at that. And then I opened my eyes and say, are you knitting while you're sleeping? Well, I'm not sleeping, I'm right here, but I can knit with my eyes closed. So that was funny, yeah. I can do that. After that many years of knitting and just playing around stockinette stitch, that's not hard to do, and it's very relaxing. So this was the driftwood cardigan. It is the driftwood cardigan from Isabel Kramer, which is a free pattern. I just destroyed it, and I just turned the camera around because you don't want to see anything in mirrored images. So the driftwood cardigan, I just do it in self-striping yarn, which is acrylic yarn from Ice Yarns, and I didn't work since I left the hospital, but I made a lot of progress over there, because I think I finished kind of the body, and I just wanted to start the sleeves now. And the stuff that I've got left over, the amount of yarn I've got left over, will be added to the body then. So I think I knit all this in the 5 hours I was in the hospital. So this, I think it looks great. It's striping, it won't be looking that flattering probably, but the stripes are quite small, and I was thinking maybe I would add the button bands in one of the contrasting colors, maybe not, depending on how much yarn I have. I had 400 grams, that's what the button calls for. The amount of meterage was correct, but my body upper torso is quite tall. So I usually have to add in a few rows in this part to get the armhole not too tight. So we'll see. Yes, as I said, I got 2 balls of 100 grams left, and I'm going to start on the sleeves and see how far it goes. Finish both sleeves and then add the rest of the yarn to the body. So that's pretty neat. So that was a lot of knitting, but it was very relaxing, and I already started up something to take with me this afternoon. I did a lot of frogging. I got all kinds of projects were not really as I would like them. There were minor imperfections, but they just keep cutting my eye, and that's not gonna work for me. I started a cardigan which is crocheted, and she had a discount a few days back. It's the Florally cardigan, and it is in a lot of sizes, and this is a crochet cardigan, and it's in the bulky weight. And I had I showed you this yarn in one of the beginning podcasts where I plied up the machine knitting yarn, which was very thin, and I combined that to this yarn, and now it's gonna be a cardigan, and I love it. I tried it on several times and ripped back several times because the armhole was too tight every time. So I added quite a few rows. The floral part I did in a plain color, so this is what it's going to look like. See? And now I have separated the sleeves, so this is going to be all plain knitting. And the fun part about this open section is if you wear something underneath it, you can see it. Oh, that looks great. That will shine through. The original pattern has the back neck will be ending, well, starting actually, because you start up here by the markers. Oh, now I've got to do thinking mirrors. I added actually from here to there, I added some kind of short rows. You can't call it short rows because it's crochet, but the effect is the same. It will put up the neck higher, so it won't pull back. And I put it on, and it was pretty low. I think it was about here, the neckline. So I can see a finger out here. So I think it was about here, and it's pretty low like this. So I wanted more fabric on the neck, so I tried and frogged and tried again, and this looks pretty good. Maybe I'll try it on for you. Yeah, that will work. You can see me struggling. Oh, sorry. So I wanted this to fit nicely, and I wanted to spend some time on that because it takes so much time to knit or crochet a garment, and if it's just a little bit off, like, yeah, it looks nice, but it's not completely right, and I didn't want that because I got a lot of those clothes. So this is what it is. See? And now I think the neck is pretty nice. I added a few single crochets around here as extra, and oh, you can see the original line was about here, so I added that, and I think that is exactly as I like it. So that is a little bit of a modification, and there will be, I think, some open buttonholes, like little loops. I'm not sure if I'm gonna go for that, or I will look at it when I'm there. She has a lot of lovely patterns, and they're all crocheted, and yeah, after all the ripping and frogging, it's not too bad how far I got, right? So this is all acrylic. I think it's nice and soft. I did wash it. It stays as a lovely words. Well, it stays nice and soft after it's washed and dried. So that is the point of everything. That it is still good when you washed it, and it won't shrink or become paper or whatever. So I'm totally out of breath, doing nothing. The next, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 more projects. So let's start with this one. You've seen it before. It's a long line cardigan from Hilo Patelli. It's part of the fall knit along. What can I say? I love it. It fits nice. It is exactly as I hoped for. I was a bit afraid. I was playing yarn chicken, and I'm still not sure if this is enough to finish both sleeves and that portion. I'm in a bit of a doubt now because I can finish the sleeves and the leftover. There will probably be a bit of leftover. I can finish the body. But I dyed up another color, which is a very dark navy. And I can just save this and start blending the navy color in there. I'm not 100% sure. For now, it's just hanging there and waiting for my decision. But look at that lovely shawl color. I love that. It's so nice in the neck. And this is just satin sleeve, but it is from the top down, and it is you pick up stitches around the armhole, and you do a short row for the sleeve caps. And yeah, what can I say about this? It is a lovely drapey. I talked a little bit about that last time. This is the bamboo with merino, so this is absolutely gorgeous. I love that. And I was so in love with this that I started another one, but in a bulky weight. I think this is gonna drop any minute. Yeah, don't touch, don't breathe, don't do anything. I had hand spun, and I thought, well, a bulky weight vest cardigan, and I love that shawl. But bulky weight won't drape, so the shawl had to be smaller, so it just fits your neck as just fits very is very form-fitting for the neck. And I had to do frogging ribbon a lot of times, and I did too much increases, so it puckered over here, and I didn't like that. And I had to frog everything again. Well, last night I did, and I just wanted to rejoin it for the underarm so I can knit in the hospital today. And this will be nice. And I think I'm gonna put it on again because you probably want to see how it looks. And this is all. I had to do a lot of modification because of the gauge. And this is a petrol blue, but it looks like a navy blue, and it's not. So I'm gonna try and do a little wrestling again. And then you can see how this fits. And I think it's worthwhile ripping now when I can. And I did a lot of ripping last week, but yeah, sometimes that happens. So this is what I did. The original pattern had you do a lot of stitches for the neck, so I'll divided that by, I think I've put in 1/3, but that's not true because this is a much bigger gauge, looser gauge, I should say. So this is going to be the armhole, see? And I was way further, but yeah. And I did too much increases at once over here, so this was all like there was a big pleat, which I didn't like. I just wanted to lay it like it to lie flat. So a little bit up, see? And this is what it looks like so far. And I'm out of the screen again. See? So I'm not sure, and I probably won't have enough to do long sleeves. But I can do a hem or ribbing around the armhole, and it will be like a nice vest. So I'm pleased with this. This is my hand spun. It is merino, and I did a 3-ply, and it is amazingly soft but quite thick. And I'm not sure I'm gonna spin that thick again because it is totally out of breath wrestling with the clothes. You see? So you start with a provisional cast on and then blah blah blah. So slow increases here instead of the fast increases you can do with that kind of thin yarn. You just can't do it with the bulky. I should have known that, but trial and error. But I'm getting there, and this is going to be my knitting for this afternoon when I'm all drugged up in hospital. So I did put in all the yarn I just had because it goes so fast because of the bulky weight, and yeah, so that's great. I'm gonna have a quick look. I've got crochet socks, and I wish I'd finished them, and I thought, well, I'm gonna block the shawl first, I'm gonna finish one of the socks, but no, I'm just gonna get real stressed about everything I want to show you. I'm just gonna show it as it is right now, and next time will be next time, and we're gonna talk about it again. So this is a free pattern, and it's the Survival Socks by Ellen Strudley, and she is Panda Go Ug. Look at that. I'm gonna make a bit of a modification because the cuff, that's not exactly what I like, and I saw somebody did knitted cuffs, so that might be something I want to do. But now the sock, look at that. So this goes so fast. It's a toe up pattern. It's quite special because I haven't done that on crocheted socks. So you start over here with a chain and you crochet, single crochet all around, and do increases at the 2 points that are on each side, which you mark with a marker until you got, I think, 50 stitches. And these are all single crochet. If you're in the UK, if you're in the US, if you're in the UK, there are half double crochets, and they're all in the back loop, so the fabric is not so stiff you can let it stand up on itself. And that there is a sort of short row heel, but it is it's knitted as an hourglass, so you got to do a little bit of seaming afterwards, and that is just this seam on either side. Well, that's not too bad. And now I'm going to start on the leg. See, this is, it looks quite good. I made crochet socks before. I didn't tell anything about it. Patrick's still wearing them, and he really likes them because they're a little bit more I want to say stiff, but they are sturdier. They don't wear holes so far, and the leg stays up by itself almost, so it doesn't sag down the leg. That's quite good. So I'm gonna crochet some leg parts, and then I am probably going to knit on a cuff. But now, so I think the cuff is the worst part of the crocheted socks. They are so bulky, and they're absolutely almost non-stretching, as far as I know, as I've tried. So this is just some stash yarn, which is Drops Fable, and that is a lovely yarn. It's very sturdy, and I crocheted this on 3.5 millimeter, I think, and I'm not quite absolutely sure. I'm going to try it because it's got to be a little bit loose for crochet, or it won't have any stretch at all, and you're not going to be able to get in there. But this, I hope you can see, it stretches. Yes, I think that is quite a nice stretch this way anyway. But so maybe I can go down and need a hook size, but this is just going to be the trying out socks. And once you found a very good pattern and you got exactly the right gauge, then you can zoom on, because this is just a few hours and you finish a sock. That is amazing about crochet. And I'm very curious to know if you're a crocheter, and did you ever crochet socks? Please leave a comment below. I would like to know, because there are not that much crochet podcasts, and I thought, well, there are a lot of crocheters in the world, people who crochet and knit, so why not do a little bit of both? Another pattern I found very interesting, and if you look at Crafternoon Treats, she made one in one of the earliest podcasts, and it is the hotel, the shawl is the Hotel of Bees, and it's a pay-for pattern, but it got everything to do with bees. Bees, you know, the buzzing bees. Little wings, little bees, little honeycomb. It's just lovely. It's even in Dutch translated, so for the Dutch viewers, if you're more comfortable with that, that's an option. You need 3 colors, and I dived just for stash yarn. I wanted to use up stuff. I don't think it's the best combination, but yeah, you got what you got, right? Purple, some ochre. My brain is totally not working today. Ochre, orange, brownish, and I've got another brown. So here is one of the stitch patterns, which look like little wings, bee wings. I've got to do everything in reverse, so excuse me for that. The little bee wings. This is another part, and then here is another part. So what the construction is, you cast on the largest edge, and it should be in a DK weight, and I'm doing it a fingering weight because I'm just always want to be I'm always different and always doing things the other way around, and that's very nice because then you got the largest section done, and you're just doing the decreases, which are on both sides, and they are done very pretty. So this is going to be an asymmetrical shawl, and there will be this brown added later on for a little bit of a pop, a contrast, and I don't think it will be too bad. The colors will, well, they look nice together, I think. So that is the Hotel of Bees shawl, and I should tell you probably, this is all merino silk, so it's a slicky yarn, it's a very drapey yarn, and it's going to be very nice and soft to wear. So there was another object, and I think this is my works in project session. Next I want a little bit to talk about about the swatches again. I dug up all my swatches, and I wanted to talk about a little bit about how can you modify the pattern if your gauge is not the gauge that the pattern is calling for. So, oh dear, that was a lot of talking. I watched back a little bit, but yeah, I will keep it short now, I promise. So what I wanted to show you was some gauge swatches I did last time. The different yarns that gives different drapes, because yeah, we already said going up needle sizes will increase the drape, but also will make the fabric less hard wearing. So the looser the stitches, the more friction there is, the more likely it is to get pilling. So I've got the bamboo swatch here, the merino bamboo, which is the Hohilo Tehi cardigan made of. So this is lovely and drapey, as you can see. But if you see the silk with the merino, it is much more drapier, and I don't know if the wiggling helps, but if I put it up on a point, you can see all the folds and how nicely it flows, and this is a little bit less. But if you cut acrylic yarn, well, you can see this wiggles, this hardly wiggles, so this is a much stiffer garment. This is let's see, this is merino with this is superwash wool with a nylon, which gives us a bit drape. It's not totally stiff, but well, enough talking about drape, because I did do that last time. But I made a swatch, and what happens if you made a swatch and you think the fabric is just perfect, is this is probably, the gauge might be a bit too loose, but for the project I'm going to use it, which is a short sleeved cardigan where the body is in a textured stitch, and the bottom part is going to be a A-line, and it's going to have to be nice and drapey. So I don't want to knit this on a tighter gauge, but I've got 26 stitches on 10 centimeters or 4 inch, and the pattern calls for 24 stitches. So what will we do? You would go down the needle size just to get a tighter gauge, but I don't want that. I like this gauge. So what am I going to do? Well, the first and easiest thing you can do is calculate how much more stitches you're going to get if you measure the total circumference. So this swatch is 10 centimeters, right? 4 inches. My hip size, I'm going to get very mathematic now. My hip size is 120 centimeters or 48 inches. I just chose that size. You can also choose your bust size, but this was easy because it was 12 times 10 centimeters. So I've got 2 stitches more on my swatch than the pattern calls for. There's 2 stitches in 10 centimeters. That means that I have to do 12 times 2 stitches to know the total difference in 120 centimeters. So 12 times 2 is 24 stitches. That means that my whole garment will get 24 stitches larger than the original pattern was calling for. And 24 stitches is almost 10 centimeters. So if you look at the pattern and you chose size that fits your bust or your hips or whatever, and you will add 10 centimeters, you have to look if that is what you want. It probably will be way too big. So if you're looking at the pattern schematics and you look at the pattern at the size that is one smaller than you were intended to, and look at the circumference, and if that is 10 centimeters less or about, then you better knit a smaller size. You knit a smaller size to get the one size larger. So you knit a smaller size, but you will get the larger size because your gauge was off. But that means that you only use the numbers for all the circumferences. So cast on the sleeves, cast on the body, that kind of thing. Cast off for the underarm. But if you're looking for the length sizes, so knit 10 centimeters or 4 inches to start decreasing or increasing or whatever, you have to use those numbers from the original size. So you don't want the body to get too short because you chose a smaller size. So that is really the easiest way to get the pattern to fit you if your gauge is off. If you are more adventurous and you're working on the thing I did with the very bulky weight yarn, you can't go down 6 sizes because it will be totally out of shape and it won't work that way. Mostly 2 sizes down is okay, but you can't go any further than that. So what I did with the other cardigan, I just had it made my gauge swatch, and I think I had 10 stitches in 10 centimeters or 4 inches. It was real big stitches. So the whole Yellow Telly cardigan asked for 24 stitches, and I had 10. So you divide the 24 by 10, which is 2.4. And that means that all the numbers you gotta divide by 2.4. All the circumference numbers you're gonna divide by 2.4. And then you get an approximate number of stitches that you will have to cast on. There's always a problem because the armhole shaping asked for cast on or cast off one stitch and then 4 times. Well, you can't divide one stitch by 2.4. So what I did, I was, instead of increasing 4 times one stitch, I just increased 2 times one stitch. So I divided the amount of times you have to increase. I had to divide by 2.4. Well, 2.4 wasn't very helpful if you have 4 stitches to increase. So I rounded it up, and you try things on and you think, well, maybe 1 less stitch here, 1 extra stitch there. So that might work. You have to divide just by, you divide your the original gauge numbers by the gauge numbers you got. So the original was 24 stitches times so many rows, and I had 10 stitches times so many rows, so it's 24 divided by 10, and you get 2.4, and that is the number you have to divide every number that is for the circumference of knitting your garment. So I hope that makes sense. It was a little bit of babbling, I think, but it worked very well for me. And the point of trying to get gauge, that is possible, but if the fabric is not the way it's supposed to be, and it can stand up on itself and walk away, it's not really something you're gonna wear. So you better make your gauge work as you like it and try to adapt the pattern. And if it's just going down 1 size in the garment knitting and casting out a few less stitches, that is way less hassle than trying to deal with a fabric that just doesn't like to be worn the way you like it. So I think that's helpful. As I told you a little bit before this, I want to talk a little bit about ease. What is ease, and how many ease do you need in which kind of garment? That will be on my next episode. Not sure when it's gonna be. My cat is meowing. She wants to go outside again. It's such a lovely fall day today. So I'll see you when I get back. I hope you have a lovely week. I hope you enjoyed this podcast, learned something, and liked things to see, get inspired. I get inspired a lot by other podcasters, and I really like to crochet on the net while listening and watching and taking notes about patterns I like to make. So I hope you have a wonderful week. I hope you will be getting the most wonderful time of knitting, crocheting, crafting, maybe baking. Whatever you do, be creative and enjoy yourself. Until we speak again, bye bye.